of Ribhu Gita. The Ribhu Gita forms the sixth section of the Sanskrit work known as Shiva Rahasya. It is the teachings of Lord Shiva in Mount Kailasha to his devotee Ribhu, from whom the Gita derives its name. Salutations to the Supreme Lord Shiva. The pure awareness in the sky of consciousness is in the heart, by meditation on whom Ganesha, Guha, Mother Shakti, who is the embodiment of Shiva's grace, and myriads of devas, saints, and devotees have attained their cherished goals. From the sky of consciousness of the heart springs forth the dancer Nataraja with his blissful consort freedom, to the delectation of his devotees, who are thus liberated forever. Unto that Ananda, Natesha, do we render our debut salutations. Unto that form whose left half is the mother of all manifestation and whose right half is the father of the same, the jingle of the gems enclosed within the hollow golden anklet, of whose foot is the source of all scriptures, and whose three eyes, fire, sun, and moon, that are the illumines of the universe. To that form be our debut salutations. May that divine form ever be our protection. Salutations to Shiva, the Lord of the universe, of infinite power, to Satchit Ananda Shakti, the Mother of the universe, to Vinayaka, the dispeller of all impediments to freedom, and to Shanmukha, the Sadguru, who dispenses to his worthy devotees the divine wisdom of Shiva, self leading to salvation. The essence of Ribhu Gita. The following verses constitutes the teachings of Shiva to Ribhu, who in turn transmits those teachings to his disciple Nidaga Rishi. The treatise goes by the name Ribhu Gita. The universe was neither born nor maintained nor dissolved. This is the plain truth, the basic screen of pure being awareness, stillness, devoid of all the moving shadow, picture of name and form of the universe is the sole eternal existence. Some may argue that this universe of duality, multiple existence, is a factual second reality, clearly seen by the senses, operated by the mind. But then, are the senses anything apart from the mind? Can they function without the support of the mind in which they are embedded? What is the mind except a bundle of thoughts? What are thoughts except ripples in the still, limitless ocean of pure being awareness self, which is the sole existence without a second? The existence of the illusion of silver in mother of pearl is not a reality apart from the reality of mother of pearl, which is the basic reality. The illusion of the universe is based on the mind, which again is an illusion based on the still awareness being self. In the unitary, undifferentiated, still ocean of existence, awareness, self, body, senses, mind, intellect, and jivas, embodied souls, are nothing but evanescent ripples, not apart from the soul self. The universe of name and form, the embodied creatures and their creator mind, desire, karma, action, misery, and everything other than the self are merely thought formation projected by the parts of the self on its screen self. The state of firm abidance in that thought free, alert awareness self constitutes integral perfection, yoga, wisdom, moksha, sahaj samadhi, the state of Shiva, and that state of Atma Self, which scriptures proclaim by the title of Brahman. There never was a mind, nor any of its countless forms like world, jivas, etc. There is not the least doubt that all these are the form of the eternally undifferentiated Supreme Brahman Self. This is the truth. The one who hears this great secret diligently and understands completely abides at Brahm Self. Greatness of Videha Mukta, with all objective knowledge banished, with no trace of thought or nuisance, with all the three states of waking, dream, and sleep wiped out, with all thought of death and birth abolished, and ever established in the spontaneous blissful state of Brahman self. The condition of the Videha Mukta cannot be conceived and much less expressed in words. The continued repetition of I am self Brahman constitutes the sole mantra japa leading to mukti liberation. All other mantra japas connected with diverse gods should be firmly, as they aim at mundane objectives other than the self. All other mantra japas always entangle one inextricably in the bondage of worldly enjoyment. Satchit Ananda, self Shiva, and his worship. On the eternal and infinite screen of Satchit Ananda, self Shiva, by his own power, Shakti is projected as the moving shadow picture of the universe in manifestation, and into that again it is absorbed in dissolution. All luminaries like the sun, moon, fire, stars, and lightning derive their luminosity as a gracious gift from the Shakti inherent in that screen of self Shiva only. Though bright in themselves, they can only obscure and cannot reveal the Shiva screen which they cover up. Out of fear of that Shiva, their creator, devas and asuras, gods and demons, are ever alertly engaged in their ordained duties. That Shiva must be meditated upon and realized to be the self by making the restless mind stay still and alert after it has been adequately restrained and completely prevented from the pursuit of sense objects, namely the shadow pictures on the screen of the self. All shadow pictures removed, what remains is pure awareness, the spotlessly effulgent screen. Thus, Shiva reveals himself spontaneously as the sole eternal Satchit Ananda self, the very essence of the nature of the worshipper, the Jivan Mukta. The Jivan Mukta is a person liberated during his lifetime who continues to have consciousness of the body and the world as Brahman, along with his firm abidance in the self Shiva. He ever abides in the blissful peace of Satchit Ananda. He is poised rock firm in the conviction that he is not the body and that his being is the sole existence, the sole alert awareness bliss of Shiva, Self Supreme. The Jivan Mukta has his consciousness completely dissolved beyond recognition in his Brahman self. Eternally alone in his self, he is ever lost in the enjoyment of the bliss of his Brahman self. The Videha Mukta, the term literally means the disembodied, liberated person is free from the least trace of thought. He abides all alone in his effulgent, pure awareness. He is the matured adept who at the moment of death abides as the pure Satchitananda self. Figuratively, the term means mature liberated being who, while still alive, abides as the pure Satchit Ananda self without awareness of body and the world around him, self in intense, unbroken bliss. totally oblivious of limited forms, in a state of Mahamonam, stillness of body, speech, and mind. He is the pure embodiment of Satchit Ananda, all pervasive as either, infinite as the sky, all alone with awareness, spontaneously abiding as the perfect Brahman self in a state of still, unbroken, peaceful bliss. There is not an atom apart from the self, which is the integral, undifferentiated perfection of whole being. Soul, world, and creator are inseparable from the self. The reality of these is the reality of the self only. All ignorance and illusion, all objects inert and living, all beings and non beings, all the five elements, all the diverse worlds, all bodies, and the lives that arise in them, not being apart from Brahman self, are Brahman self only. Existent alone is for even non existence acquires meaning only in existence. Simply put, everything exists always as Brahm self only. All objective knowledge, all thought forms, all visible objects, all things heard, all questions and answers, all the food consumed, and all other illusions, not being apart from the self, should be regarded as Brahm self only. Therefore, one should practice the habit of regarding everything as Brahm self only until all thought of things other than the self is lost. This condition once achieved, one should not give room for any thought and should ever abide in Mahamana, peace of total stillness. Anything seen as other than Brahman self is bound to cause fear and trouble. Therefore, it behoves one to stick to the single attitude that everything sensed is Brahman self alone. In due course, even this one thought must be given up in order to abide firmly in the free, undisturbed, blissful state of the soul Brahman self. The total discarding of the mind is alone victory, achievement, bliss, yoga, wisdom, and liberation. The sacrifice of the mind is, in fact, the totality of all sacred sacrifices. The firm denial of the existence of the mind and the firm belief in the existence of Brahman self is the sure way to the conquest of mind, leading to the experience of the soul effulgent self. If one gives the slightest room for the thought that the mind exists, pure awareness itself will vibrate as the ruffled mind, which is the parent of all trouble and illusions. Therefore, one should ever abide in the conviction that there is no mind and that the pure awareness self is the sole existence. This is the easy way to conquer the mind with all its vagaries. There is no such thing as the troublesome mind, no world of names and forms, nor the least bit of ego. All these are nothing but the perfect Brahman self, which I am. In this conviction, one should abide firmly until one achieves the state of sleep, which is alert, peace eternal, the true samadhi. To hold on to the conviction born of self inquiry that I am no doubt the screen, Brahman self, and the world picture thereon, though evanescent, is no doubt I am self only, and to abide still and blissful in that conviction is the acme of all sadhanas like divine worship, charitable gifts, spiritual austerities, mantra japa, and samadhi as well. The self alone is the spontaneous self effulgent awareness, that alone is eternal bliss, that alone is existence everlasting, that alone is the embracing perfection, the sole Godhead without a rival, and the sole primordial stuff of the universe. In the conviction born of this experience, one should ever abide as the soul. I am the Supreme Self. Sahat Samadhi, remaining alertly aware and thought free, with a still mind devoid of differentiation of self and non self, even while being engaged in the activities of worldly life, is called the state of Sahaj Nirvikalpa Samadhi, the natural state of abidance in the self when all differentiation has ceased. This is called Akhandakara Vritti, the eye of infinite perfection, as contrasted with the I am the body notion of those who have not realized the self. Maturing of Sahaj Samadhi. Abidance in Sahaj Samadhi is the hallmark of a Jivan Mukta. With progressive development towards this state, an intensity of blissful peace is attained, leading on to the four successive stages of perfection in Samadhi. Nothing short of this Sahaj Samadhi will be of any avail in destroying the fearsome cycle of births and deaths. The realized person who abides in the Brahman self and has lost all feelings of differentiation of self and non self is the Jnani or Mukta Purusha. Such a Jnani is rare to find even by searching among millions of people. If one has the lucky opportunity of getting his darshan, personal view and contact, one attains purification from all his sins, and what is more, such a person's ego gets liquidated at once. Darshan of the matured Jnani constitutes the acme of purification of baths taken in sacred waters, divine worship, mantra japa, spiritual austerities, charitable acts, and devotional worship of Lord Shiva himself. To find and to gain access to the sacred presence of such a Jnani is the luckiest of opportunities that one could ever obtain in this world. Worshipful service rendered unto such a Jnani Sadguru quickens one's spiritual wisdom to attain the bliss of Jivan Mukti. If continued further, it bestows on the disciple even the status of Videha Mukti. Therefore, if one is keen on being released from bondage into the freedom of Mukti, the one infallible means of achieving that aim is the loving and worshipful service of the Jnani Sadguru, firmly established in the self, undisturbed by the least ripple of thought, as still an idol of stone or wood, dissolved completely in Brahm self, even as water is in milk, with awareness devoid of all impurities of thought and drowsiness, standing clear as the pure sky. The grandeur of the Jnani's Nishtha, firm stance in the self, defies thought and expression. The sine qua non of Mukti is Shiva's grace, that in which the whole universe is born and into which it is absorbed in dissolution, is the Shiva shelf. Devoted worship of and meditation on that Shiva shelf of pure consciousness alone will attract Shiva's grace, which is indispensable for liberation. Those engaged in the pursuit of knowledge of the Brahman self, happening to get involved in the mundane pleasures of sex, should regard such pleasures as merely faint shadows of the bliss of the self. They should never even dream of worldly pleasures. As the self is Sat, meditative contact with the self is the true Sat Sangha, association with sadhus who abide in the self, as Brahman self is the highest association with the self, is Mahat Sangha, highest association. The sadhaka practicing meditation on the self should always think firmly that the all diversities of soul, world, and creator are the undifferentiated Brahman self only. By practice, his consciousness is freed from thoughts, after which he should give up the above thought also and abide always in the thought free state of the self. Abidance in the state of thought free alert awareness is the state of mukti beyond thought and expression. The emergence of thought is the bondage of untold suffering. Abidance in the self is the true non dual samadhi, and that alone leads one to the eternal bliss of mukti. The great illusions Maya associated with God, Ishvara, Avidya associated with individual soul, mind and jiva, soul's world and its creator, all names and forms and all mental conceptions are nothing but the self. One should ever abide in this conviction. All worlds and creatures are only thought forms. They are nothing but the mind, which is a bundle of thoughts, which again are nothing more than ripples in the still ocean of awareness, self, and certainly nothing apart from the self. Therefore, one should abide in the firm conviction that all objects are only I am self Brahman. There are no such things as achieved objectives and the efforts leading to them, association with the wise or the ignorant, efforts of learning and knowledge acquired, acts of inquiry and practice, the learner or the learned, and any goals achieved. What exists is only Brahman, the effulgent awareness self. One should be firm in the conviction that there are no charitable acts, sacred waters, and pilgrim centers, no loss or gain, and no loser or gainer, no karma, bhakti, and wisdom, and no knower or known. All these thought forms are bound to be dissolved and lost in the Brahman self, which is the sole existence. The bhavna, I am Brahman self, swiftly takes one to mukti, as the continued reading to the text generating that bhavna takes the aspirant unerringly to the goal. He should always dwell on the return words dealing with the Brahman self. The illusion that one is the body and that the world is the basic reality has remained soaked over a long time and cannot be got rid of by the casual reading and mere understanding of the truth. The basic illusion can be effaced only by a long and unremitting practice of the bhavna that all this is I am Brahman self. Everything is only a concoction of time, space, and energy. All else is the treaty talk of people who dislike the effort of sadhana, who takes them to the self. This talk is based on their dense ignorance of the self. Only by persistent practice and experience of sadhana can one arrive at the truth that all concepts of souls, world, and that cause thereof are just evanescent shadow on the screen of Shiva self Brahman. There is never such a thing as conception of names and forms, no such thing as the conceiving mind, no such thing as a person lost in sansara, and no such things as the world and its creator. Everything that is seen to exist must be realized to be no other than the soul, pure awareness being Brahman self. Everything is Sat Chit Ananda self only. Whatever is found to exist is Sat existence only. Whatever is pleasurable is Ananda bliss only. One should ever abide in the bedrock bhavna of Satchit Ananda. Never for once should one slip, even inadvertently, into the disastrous bhavna that one is the body and that the world is real. One should abide in the rock firm bhavna that everything is only Brahman self and I am that Brahman self. By this bhavna, all thought, movements, and nescience will disappear, resulting in the eternal abidance in the soul, Satchit Ananda self. By abiding in the self, the wandering mind is reduced to perfect stillness after being freed from all nuisance and thought currents. It gets lost in the Satchit Ananda self is the same way that water is lost when mixed with milk. This unitary state of abidance in the self is called Atma Nishtha by the wise who have attained perfection, Sahaj Nishtha or the natural state. Having realized that the whole picture on the screen self is evanescent and essentially non existent, one should ever remain still and blissful in the firm conviction of ever being the sole Brahman self only. The conviction should be maintained even while functioning as an individual in the world of name and form. This matured state of abidance in the self is called Sahaj Nishtha, the natural state. In that blissful self wherein there is no action of body, speech, and mind, no virtuous or sinful karma action, and the fruits thereof, one should remain still, eschewing the least trace of thought. In that self wherein there is neither conceiver nor conception of the world of names and forms, one should remain blissfully still, eschewing the least trace of thought. In that self wherein desire, anger, covetousness, confusion, bigotry, and envy are all absent, in that self wherein there is no thought of bondage or release, one should abide blissfully still, eschewing the least ripple of thought. Firmly abiding in the self, one acquires the totality of all knowledge and achieves the successful completion of all endeavors and duties. In that state, one should abide blissful and still, eschewing the least ripple of thought. Mind merged completely in the self and becomes a Lord without rival, steeped in bliss beyond compare, and that state one should abide still, free from the least trace of thought. I am that self which is integral existence, awareness, bliss, the soul imparted Brahman self, firm in the conviction born of this experience, one should abide still, free from the least trace of thought. In the conviction that I am the self in which no thought, ego, desire, mind, or confusion can exist, one should abide still, free from trace of thought. The firm faith of being the self is sufficient to dispel all thought and establish one in Brahman self. In due course of this practice, even the thought involved in that faith fades away, leading to the spontaneous effulgence of the self. If a person hearkens to this teaching and practices the faith, even if he is a great sinner, he is washed clean of all his sins and is established in self Brahman. There is certainly no such thing as mind with its constituents of thought and thought, forms of objects. In this conviction, one should ever abide still and at peace in the state of thought free, alert awareness self, which endures after all sadhanas and its rigors have exhausted themselves in Brahman self. Having gained the experience that there is no creator, no Maya, no duality, and no objects at all, and that pure awareness, self alone exists, one should ever remain still and peaceful in that state of selfhood. If a person gives heed to these teachings, he would certainly gain the grace of Lord Shiva and attain the state of selfhood, even though he is immersed in the dense darkness of nuisance, which could not be banished by the glare of a million suns. Why waste words? This is the truth in a nutshell. Only those who have earned the grace of our Lord Shiva by long devotional worship will get the rare opportunity of reading this scriptural text, which leads to the bliss of peace everlasting in Brahman self. Only that Jnani who teaches thou art the thought free, alert, aware, absolutely still, ever blissful, intensely blissful, unqualified Brahman self is the true Sadguru, and others are not. Unbroken abidance in the state of alert awareness, unruffled by thoughts, is self realization. That is at once the spotless Jivan Mukti and the magnificent Videha Mukti. This state is easily attainable only for those who have earned the divine grace of Shiva by deep devotion to him and not for others. What is stated here is the import in a nutshell of the message of the that charming crest jewel of the Vedas known as the Upanishads. Those who give heed to this message and abide in accordance with it will forthwith attain mukti liberation. They will not suffer from the least particle of affliction. They will enjoy a bliss far greater than the bliss attained from this and all other worlds. They and their environments will be filled with the plenitude of auspicious events, totally free from all trace of fear. They will never again enter the cycle of births and deaths. They will become the immutable Brahman self. All this we swear in the truth beyond doubt by our God Shiva. Again and again we swear that this is the fundamental truth, that state of still, pure, effulgent awareness is moksha, the state of beyond compare. Those who maintain an unbroken abidance in that supreme state will never more be touched by suffering or confusion and will be absolved from all duties. Such duties, if any, will somehow be completed without any volition on their part. They will eternally abide as the Soul Supreme Self. By the persistent and continued bhavna of I am the Brahman self, all thoughts and feelings of differentiation of self and non self will drop off, and permanent abidance in Brahman self will be achieved. This bhavna is possible only for those who, with a keen, inquiring mind, intent on knowing the self, and not for those who are indifferent about self knowledge. Ignorance and indifference in regard to the inquiry of the truth about oneself is the storehouse of nuisance and trouble, blocking the view of the self and creating in a spilled second all thoughts, sorts of illusions and harassment of mental worry. Non inquiry renders bhavna impossible. In short, non inquiry will steep one forever in the ocean of samsara, earthly suffering. There is no greater enemy for one than non inquiry. Therefore, this habit must be overcome in order to fix the mind in the bhavna which leads to abidance in the self. Inquiry should be made this wise with the kind help of the Satchit Guru. One should inquire, who am I? What is this world? What is the reality behind all these? Staying in the company of sadhus, those engaged in the pursuit and enjoyments of the bliss of the self, and respectfully questioning the Sadguru Jnani, one should first make oneself clear about the objective to be attained. This is an important aspect of the inquiry. After thus making sure of the objective, one must firmly abide in that objective of soul Brahman self until the self is unmistakably experienced. The conscious introspective concentration of self inquiry, who am I, kills all thought and destroys the dense darkness of nuisance. If effaces all worry, it illuminates the intellect with the radiance of pure awareness. It wipes out all conceptual confusions. It fixes one in Shiva self. It transforms a host of impending disasters into auspicious events. And lastly, it destroys the ego mind utterly with all its applications. Only by those strong-willed persons who make earnest and persistent self-inquiry will the turbulent mind be controlled and fixed still in the practice of firm bhavana. In due course, all thoughts and nuisance will disappear, yielding place to the effulgent awareness of mukti. One should relentlessly pursue self inquiry until all conceptual forms of creatures, word, and creator merge and disappear in the pure, thought free, alert awareness self, enabling one to abide in the bhavana of the experience I am the Brahman self. It is only the mind which appear as the world and bondage. There is no world other than the mind. On inquiry, this mind turns out to be nothing more than a group of ripples thought in the still ocean of pure awareness, Shiva self. I am that Shiva self only, and there is nothing apart from me. One should ever abide in the conviction born of this existence. There is no world apart from the mind. What appears as the world is only the mind. If this mind is investigated, it turns out to be nothing more than a bundle of thoughts based on the primary thought of I am the body called the ego. If this ego I is inquired into and its identity searched, it gets swallowed up without a trace in the pure awareness being Shiva self. One should maintain this firm bhavana, I am self Shiva, until the state of being the self Shiva becomes the spontaneous experience free from the effort of bhavana. In me, the pure awareness self, the universe is born, maintained and dissolved as the mind. Therefore, there are no mind and thought forms of objects apart from me, the self. In this firm experience, one should ever abide. One should ever abide as pure Shiva self by the firm experience that there are no thoughts forms of creature, world, and creator apart from the mind, which is just an array of ripples in me and the still ocean of pure awareness, self, and therefore I am the sole being, Shiva, self only. Even as the world seen in my dream is not apart from me but only my creation, even so, the world of the waking state is only a creation made by me and seen by me in the medium of my pure awareness self. In this experience, one should firmly abide. The rock firm conviction of I am the self is the sure mark of firm abidance in the self. Abidance in that conviction under all conditions is true divine worship, meditation on God, incantation of mantras, practice of right conducted life, contemplation, integral yoga, wisdom of the self, and mokshas as well. Whatever appears as Maya, creator, creature, mind, world, names, and forms are the pure Brahman self only and not apart from that self. Steady abidance in the rock firm conviction born of experience of I am the self is the greatest yoga, total dissolution of the mind, true renunciation, true wisdom, and Jivan Mukti as well. Whatever names and forms are seen by me in my dream are not anything apart from me. Even so, this world seen by me in my waking state is not anything apart from me, the awareness self that I am. The wise one should give up all the differentiation of self and non self and abide as pure self only. In this world of the waking state is not evanescent in its nature. Whatever is seen in the waking state must be seen during sleep also, since as I am pure self exists alone and always, there is no room for thought of non self world. I, self Brahman, is the sole existence. No world exists during the absence of the mind, and there is no mind apart from my awareness. So, mind and world are nothing apart from the self. and I am ever that sole existence awareness, Brahman self. The wise one should abolish all thoughts of differentiation of self and non self. I see neither mind nor world during my sleep. In my dream, there is mind and its creation, the dream world. The dream world is falsified in my waking state, but I self exist always, arguing thus one must give up all differentiation of self and non self and ever abide firmly as the thought free, alert, awareness self Brahman. All diversity of world, mind, Maya, confusing power of Brahman, wakefulness, dream, sleep, talk of you and me are evanescent and yet not apart from the self. Thus, wise one should give up all thought of self and non self and abide as self only. In dim light, the illusion of a serpent is seen in a rope, and this serpent is nothing but the rope. Even so, all illusion of non self exists in the self only. Thus, wise one should give up all thought of self and non self and ever abide firmly in the peace of the self. In the wisdom of integral experience, I am the non dual, transcendental, motionless, peaceful, bondage freedom, notion free, sky of pure consciousness only. With this experience, one should reject all differentiation of self and non self and ever abide firmly in the peace of Brahman self. One should give up all hatha yogic practices like breath control or religious dogmas and their diverse sadhana 19 and be ever satisfied in simple abidance as the self only. Only those who contemplate on Shiva self, the pure supporting screen of all manifestation, gain the pure experience of Sahaja Nirvikalpa Samadhi. Apart from this devotion to Shiva Lord Shiva, the pure alert awareness self, there are no other means leading to liberation. The non dual soul being existing in deep sleep conjures up a world in the dream state. Even so, the shadow world conjured up in the waking state is the work of the power inherent in one's own Brahman self, abiding firmly in the experience of pure Brahman self. One finds that the mind and all its confabulations and lost forever. One should remain firm in the conviction I am the self and reject all thoughts like I am this body and this world is real. If one maintains this habit unremittingly, this false belief will drop away, even as a lower a flower held in the hand slips away when one falls into deep slumber. One is solely responsible for one's own liberation of or bondage, since the choice of destroying a restless mind or allowing it to roam at large rest with that one only. Therefore, one should conquer the restless mind, be steady, abidance in the pure, thought free, alert, awareness self only. This steady abidance is moksha. You are the sole supreme Godhead, the Self. There is nothing apart from you. This we declare to be the ultimate truth after a complete analysis of all the scriptures by the holy feet of Shiva. We sphere this to be the truth beyond all doubt. By the feet of Sadguru, we swear again, and this is the truth declared by the Upanishads. All charitable gifts, all pilgrimages to sacred places, all sorts of mantra japa and worship of diverse gods must be firmly given up in flavor of steady practice of the teachings of this book only. All yogic practices, all philosophies, pursuits, all devotional exercise, and all faith and beliefs should be abandoned. One should confine oneself to practice of the teachings of this holy book. By the sole practice of the teachings of the book, all confusion and ignorance will be destroyed. Firm abidance in the self will be the positive result. With the fusion of the wisdom and peaceful bliss in the self, mukti will be attained. Only when all sins are washed off by the practice of virtues running through many lives, one gets the rare opportunity of securing this treatise and practicing its tenets. By the feet of Lord Shiva, we declare that only those whose cycle of births and deaths has come to an end with this life will ever get this treatise in their hands and practice its teachings. O my Lord Sadguru, by thy grace I have in a split second shed all sense of differentiation of self and non self. I have attained the certainty that all is Brahman and I am that Brahman self. I have become settled in the eternal bliss of Brahman self. I am verily the Satchit Ananda Brahman self. I am the eternal undisturbed peace devoid of name and form. I am the flawless, integral whole of all existence. Firmly I am settled in my own soul, Brahman self. Oh, I have become Brahma, Vishnu, Rudra, Mahesha, Parmeshvara, and his spouse Parvati, Vinayaka. I am myself all the Devas, celestial beings, and Asuras. Indra, the chief of the Devas, the lord of the eight cardinal directions, the community of sages and swans, of Rakshasas, and in fact the denizens of this and all other worlds. I have become the five elements, multitudinous world scattered in the skies, all existing things and their histories, all the Vedas and all the diversities of name and form. At one stroke, I have become the bodies, senses, and souls, owning them. The mind, intellect, intuition, ego, the primal nuisance, and the restless commotion of spirit, and in short, all that is seen and known. That gracious person who gives these teachings is no doubt the embodiment of Lord Parmeshvara, his Devi Parvati, Vinayaka, and God Shanmukha, all rolled into one. He is again Nandikeshvara, Dattatreya, and in short the Supreme Lord Shiva himself. After being duly initiated into these teachings by the Sadguru, the disciple must, as long as life lasts in him, provides his teacher liberally with money, food, clothing, and shelter, and loving devotion. This is the sign qua non for the disciple's mukti. Further, he should adorn his forehead and body with vibhuti in the prescribed manner, as this use of vibhuti alone will entitle him to Lord Shiva's grace, with which removes all impediments to salvation. The habitual smearing of body with vibhuti is called Pashupta, austerity in devotion to Shiva. The practice quickens the attainment of self knowledge. O Lord Shiva Guru, by this practice I earn the merit for arriving at thy holy feet, which have led me to salvation. I am ever the eternal, pure, all knowing, free, unshakable, non dual, integral self. This is the firm conviction of the experience of the Jivan Mukta in the self. That mature Jnani who is lost in the Mahamona, total stillness of the pure effulgent awareness Brahman self, devoid of the least trace of nuisance, totally devoid of all consciousness of the body and its three states of waking, dream, and sleep, devoid of all distinctions of name and form, and devoid of any thought of bondage or freedom, is a Videha Mukti. Thou hast, O Lord Sadguru, taken me across the boundless ocean of samsara in the boat of self knowledge, to me, floundering in the misery of the belief that I am the body. Thou hast taught that I am the Brahman self, and vouchsafed to me the bliss of all embracing awareness being. To thee I render these debut salutations. Salutations to these, my Lord Sadguru. Thou hast destroyed my illusion that I am the body and that the world is apart from me and is real. Thou hast given me the experience of my own Brahman self. Thou last destroyed my wrong belief that karma action is the road to salvation, and showing the knowledge alone could make one free. Thou hast given me my salvation in the self, to that divine grace embodied, to that omnipresence beyond compare, to that Shiva self. Sadguru, I render thou salutations. To that Sadguru who is the core of myself, who destroyed my nescience by the gift of awareness self, to that embodiment of self knowledge, do I offer these salutations. Salutations to the Sadguru, who is the embodiment of undisturbed peace without attributes, eternally purity all. 23 pervasive infinite sky of consciousness and integral perfection. In reply to the words of Nidaga, Ribu replies thus: O my son, you are now no doubt firmly settled in the bliss of Brahman self, having been freed from all illusion and nuisance. All the same, as abundant precaution, until you attain Vidha Mukti, you must assiduously practice continued abidance in the self. Aspirant of self knowledge will find their success accelerated by practical bodily worship of Shiva, living in a Shiva Kshetra, neighborhood of Shiva temple. They should offer worship to Shiva Mahalingam, wearing the sacred vibhuti and rudraksha garland of a specified sort of beads, and repeating the name of Shiva and loving devotion. Salutations to Satchit Ananda, Shiva Self. Salutations to that peace undisturbed, the Self. Salutations to that integral perfection, the Self. Salutations to that effulgent awareness, the Self. Salutations to that blemish free Self without attributes. Salutations to that indivisible unity, the Self. Salutations to the that pure sky of consciousness, the self. Salutations to that supreme integral existence, the self. Hari Om Tat Sat. Om Namah Shivaya.